Hey y'all, let's pick up from where we last left off, which would be this little quick sketchbook assignment just to kind of illustrate how drawing is not a thing you're good at or bad at, it's a skill, and it's also a communicating thoughts with visual ideas, like how in English you use words to communicate ideas. So now, like I already told you in the last video, it's time for my favorite thing, which is I love to do blind contour drawings. Totally not because I love to troll. All right. Turn the page of your sketchbook. Here's something like that sound weird. All right, so blank page. I want you to write down what I write down. You ready? Oh, I'm not ready because what I need you to do is locate this folder, this little envelope. It has a bunch of paper in it. When I pull the paper out, you'll notice each class, drawing, painting, and intro, all have different kinds of paper in it. What I want you to do is feel for the lightest paper, the one that feels thinnest. It should also be the whitest of the papers because it's got less pulp in it, more dyes. So if you notice, like the thicker papers, like they just feel thicker. What I wanted you to do is locate, and there should be this thin 90-pound sulfate. Should kind of feel like printer paper or paper you would get when worksheets were a thing. We're going to be drawing on this, but first things first, though, is I want to make sure that you don't bleed through on your sketchbook. So please take this paper, which we'll be doing our assignment on today, and slide it underneath like so. That way, when we use the markers, they won't bleed it and stuff. All right. So there's two rules for blind contour. Rule number one. Sorry for my sniffles. Blind contours are called blind for a reason. You don't look at your paper. That's right. Do not look at your paper. And I know you're thinking to me, what? That's crazy. If I don't look at what I'm doing, I won't know what I'm drawing. To which my response is precisely. So the reason that blind contours have been used by artists for a long time, and the reason they use this as like a warm-up, as a study, as a practice, is because that there are 5 neural processes from your hand to your brain if you want to draw or write. 5. Any deficit in those 5, and it's going to make the process hard. So for some people, that's why drawing is so hard for them, or writing is so hard for them. They haven't built those pathways in their brains. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on building those pathways by letting our hands and eyes communicate without letting our stupid brains get in the way and trying to make us draw symbols and stuff that's not there. So we're going to focus on teaching our hands and our eyes to talk to each other and actually describe to our brain what's going on, not letting our brain be lazy and just talk to us in symbols and whatever. 2, because this is a contour line, you won't lift up your pencil. Well, in this case, I guess it's a pen, but whatever. Pen/pencil. All right. So if our 2 rules are, we don't look at our paper, we don't look at our pencil, you're probably thinking to me, this sounds dumb. And I promise it's not. So there's 2 things we're going to be looking at for this. One is, do you know what a contour is? What is a contour? Do you know? Take some time to think about it. Give yourself about 10 seconds. What do you know about contours? Possibly a contour map you may have learned in social studies. What about if you're into like makeup and stuff? People contour their faces. Well, what does that mean, contour? I'll tell you what it means in art class. Contours are the edges of stuff. Think about the outlines. Now, you may be familiar with outlines because, like all of us, we've all done coloring books. Coloring books just line drawings that are outlines. They show the contours or the edges of the characters, the forms, but they don't show all of the contours. So what I mean by that is we're going to start by drawing our hand. If I look at my hand, yeah, I could just trace it and make a little turkey, and then I'd have an outline of a hand, but that wouldn't be a contour because a contour can describe all of the edges. So like the outside of my hand, but what about all these little wrinkly guys here, the knuckles, and the way it kind of bends in here and creates a shadow, so it's a thicker line. But then I got these lines and here, all this detail, and I got this highlight on my nail, and you can see that given enough time, you can go insane drawing all the contours. How would that be a practice for us? So the thing with blind contours is they're meant to be quick, kind of warm up, get your brain and your eyeballs talking. So for this one, I want you to see how much information you can capture in, let's do 15 seconds. And we're going to use our hand for this one. Traditionally, hands have been used because artists always usually have access to their hands in case they can't have anything else to draw. Plus, they're easy to pose for us. So let's throw up the timer on here. Let's do 30 seconds. So I'm going to show you, now let's keep it 15. I'm going to show you what I can capture in 15 seconds. Now remember, I can't look at my paper. Well, I got like a thumb. I tried to get the contours of like where the little wrinkles are on the knuckle and the nail, but it's a blind contour, so you can tell that I tried to do little detailies here, but then ran out of time. I wonder what I could do with 30 seconds. So take your sketchbook, turn the page, make sure you put your paper onto where you're going to draw, so that way it doesn't bleed through. Let's go for a 30-second one. I'm going to show you what I can do in 30 seconds, and then I'm going to pause and let you draw for 30 seconds. Let's see how much more detail I can capture. Mark, get set. Go. Oh, I think I ran off the page there. Oopsies. All right. So you can tell, here's 15 seconds. Here's 30 seconds. And what I love is that when I first start, kids will be like, "Oh, you're looking at your hand." And I'm just like, no, I'm an artist, and also I've been doing this like all day. But so I try to get the little knuckle contours again, try to get the nail contour, even though it looks like I need to trim it a little bit. And then I got a pretty good turn here on the thumb. Try to get some of the little folds there. And then trying to get all this complex stuff right here is where it turns a little bit different. Thankfully, I had this paper here so I didn't accidentally draw on my own table. Haha. So, will a blind contour drawing look just like what you're trying to draw? No. Does a blind contour look like this? No, don't do that. That's how you don't get points. That's not trying to look at stuff. If you notice, I went slow and deliberate and tried to match up my hands to my thumbs. So now, what I want you to do is I'll put on a timer. You got 30 seconds. I want you to try to draw your hand, whatever hand shape you want it to be, as long as it's school appropriate. 30 seconds on this paper. Make sure to put this light piece of paper underneath the sketchbook so it doesn't bleed through. And you should be good to go. All right, on your marks. Get set. Go. Don't look at the paper. Don't lift your pencil. You can do it. All right, cool. Let's see what happens if we have a minute to do some details. All right, let's try this one. I'll do a different one than a thumbs up. Let's do a peace sign. All right, let me get my timer going. All right, on your mark, get set, a go. All right, well, it's like mostly a peace sign. I just a skeleton finger and a fat finger, but you get the idea. What I'm focusing on is trying to get my brain to recognize the contours and the outlines of all the shapes. Then it kind of warms up, our hands talk to our brains. Cool. So what I want you to do is, for this assignment, just go ahead and take a picture of the 30-second drawing and the 1-minute drawing that you did in your sketchbook. And that's it for lesson 2 this week. Lesson 3 will be a lot more drawing, a lot more fun, and it's also sometimes usually confusing. So, what's nice though is you have to replay the video so that there's a real live lecture. You couldn't ask me to rewind. I mean, you can. It'd be awkward. I'll do my best. I mean, it'd be awkward, but I would do my best. All right, so go ahead, work on these 2 drawings, 30-second blind contour, 1-minute blind contour in your sketchbook. Remember, put the paper underneath the paper so it doesn't bleed through. You can see these pages are pretty thin. And that's that. All right, have fun.